if you could take a moment and go to thegrowingbanddirector.com to give at least $5 or $3 a month, and it helps the content continue to be created for you to help our profession grow. Let's go back to our scheduled episode. Welcome back to the Growing Band Director podcast, where this is episode number 254. I'm here in New Jersey with Julius Tolentino. How are you?
Good to be here again.
Good. Happy to fly down today. Thank you to Schmeed's Music
Yep.
for providing the space for us.
Yep. Schmeed's Music, a good friend of mine, Pete Schmiedhauser, allows me to teach some classes here, and I do that on Sunday morning. He has an awesome music store here and lessons in Whippany, New Jersey.
And a big thank you to Larry Clark and Excelsior Music for paying for my trip down here. So this is pretty awesome. When we're programming music for students, I would say like 90% historical music, like you and I kind of agree.
Yeah.
You know, like
Without doubt.
typically we're trying to teach the history of the music.
Of course.
There is a place for new music, especially arrangements of older music, because
Right.
we might love all the Ellington stuff or all the stuff, but like you have a seventh grade jazz band. Like
Right.
there's limited stuff they're going to do.
Right.
So we're trying to
Exactly.
bring a lot of that stuff to the forefront. Like we're clearly not going to touch a lot of the harder stuff because this is
Right.
grade 1 to 3 kind of thing. But
Right.
we have this separated into 3 programs, like a first, second, and third tune that you could obviously mix and match any of these together. So being picky about your program, how do you try to say you have 3 tunes and you're going to go perform somewhere? Like you've got Mingus coming up,
Right.
which obviously like that's a different kind of a festival. But so
But even in that, yeah, you have to create a set and create different moods and different grooves to kind of complement each other. You're not going to play 3 medium swing tunes, right?
some people say you have to play a ballad, you have to play straight eighth, you have to play
Right.
swing. Like I don't necessarily agree with that. I agree
Yeah.
more with you. Like it just has to change.
Yeah, it just has to change. I mean, I've been very successful at competitions and festivals, and rarely do I put in even a ballad. It's as long as like there's 3 contrasting tunes, that'll work.
And one of the tunes, I find having one of them be like the improv tune that
Right.
like you're going to have multiple kids working on it.
Right.
So choosing the tune based on the chord changes rather than
Yeah.
just I like the tune.
Especially, with middle school students, I definitely do that. Most of my middle school music is vehicles for them to just enjoy improvising.
So on this one, we're going to start with this. So this is the grade 1 set. We're going to start with the Roy Philippe arrangement of the great Neil Hefti tune, Splanky. Neil Hefti was a writer for the Basie band.
Yes,
So Splanky is a D flat blues.
the original, yeah.
Relax. This one is an E flat blues. This is basically one you want to do if you want to teach the Basie style and you have a piano player that you kind of want to put out front. Let's talk about the 4 essential parts. We'll take out vibes for now
Yeah.
of the Basie band,
Right.
and sort of like what's essential about each one of them, even the grade 1 level.
Right. Well, I would say, when you're talking about the Count Basie band, it really is a structure for almost all the big band writing that you're going to hear for any band, professional, high school. Just the swinging style of it, and the introduction of the shout chorus and riffing,
Yep.
all kind of comes from the history of the Basie band. And we also have to talk about the 4-piece rhythm section, meaning bass, guitar, piano with the addition of drums. I mean, guitar, sorry. That's Freddie Green. That 4-piece rhythm section we like to call the American rhythm section. And, having that chugging happening on the guitar, which is all downstrokes, no upstrokes, downstrokes. And what I have the students do, even if they don't have an acoustic, I have them strum harder and turn the amp down less or off entirely to give you a short chink, 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 chink. And we actually, in my top group, we actually have a guitar set up specifically for Freddie Green that doesn't solo on. It's just going to function as the rhythm guitar, right? And that connection between the bass and guitar. So if we're playing in 2 or 4, they kind of they're doing kind of the same function, right?
Their right hands have to be the same. The bass is going to be long and the guitar is going to be short, but they have to be locked in.
Locked in, exactly. And then, the role of the piano in the Basie band, a lot of like short little jabs, being very sparse, a lot of space in the comping. Like in this arrangement that he does, and he puts it in E flat, instead of having the classic Count Basie introduction that he would often do on front of charts, he has like a little horn line, which is great. But if it were me, I would definitely take that out and just start off like learn it in the original key and then move it to E flat, and then we'll play the same thing.
Like say your piano player was a lead player in your group and you wanted to use this tune.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which
I've done that with Shiny Stockings too.
Exactly. That piano intro is key. We're doing that with a group right
This
now.
is written for 6 brass. Sorry, 6/3. I wrote double things. I forget. I forget what I wrote there. But I did want to mention the articulation. Just do dot da dot. Like just teaching that.
Yes. It's
It's
true.
just
Yeah.
doing it right. And
Yeah.
I want to mention because I remember working with a bunch of bands, and if you read the drum parts to a tune like this, it's going to include four quarter notes every measure in the bass,
Right.
in the bass drum. Now
Yeah.
I know you can do that. You can like feather the bass drum,
Yes.
but most kids at this age, I
Yeah.
just say don't play the bass drum at all
That's a great
because it
technique. Just leave
just
it out.
thud thud thud.
Right.
It makes it
Right.
swing like a brick,
Yeah,
So
exactly. You don't need that bass drum in the beginning, but when they get to a certain level, it's really kind of important to have. It helps kind of line up the rhythm section when you got a little more of an advanced group. I love what you're saying about the phrasing of this one. This is something I would definitely take out my horn for because it's like it's written one way and they can read it, but like to get the real feel of it, you really want to lay it back. And a lot of times when I play this in a band, the original arrangement, we even pull it back even farther where it's almost not recognizable. I've been fortunate to play in the Basie band with Butch Miles on drums, and you can't read the charts in that group because luckily the great Marshall McDonald was playing lead alto, and he would say, okay, right here we're laying back almost like a different time signature and then go super soft here, and then it was just like if I didn't have him tell me that, I'd be sticking out like a sore thumb because like the stuff is not written in. So it's important to hopefully be able to model some of these things that we're talking about and playing like that laid back mix for the students.
all right, here's Splanky, arranged by Roy Philippe. The ballad is another walking ballad we're going to use. This is Misty, arranged by Terry White. Again, a great standard tune. This tune is like a 1.5. We included it on the grade one because it's listed as a grade one. I honestly would call this a grade two. Like it's
Yeah,
harder than it seems for sure.
without a doubt.
It does, again, like we talked about in the last episode. Again, if you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to 252. Last week, we did this same thing, but with
Yeah.
nine other charts.
Mhm.
This one goes to F at the end as well. And
Right.
Terry likes to do this where he spreads the melody around to as many people as possible. So
Yeah.
the bridge goes down to the octave, so it goes down to the tenor and
Yeah.
the
That's
trombone.
that's a nice way to give everybody some love in the band. Um, This is a tune that I realize that, I'm not on TikTok, but a lot of students know this melody
Hmm.
because there's maybe some TikToker that's doing it or some younger version of it. So they really know this tune. So I'm thinking about doing it. I never heard this arrangement till you introduced it to me. I love that he quotes the very beginning, the first four bars is a quote of On a Misty Night by Tad Dameron, which is based on September in the Rain. So I just thought it was really clever that he put another tune with Misty at the top of the chart. I don't know. Most people probably won't catch that, but it's very clever on a misty night. It's timeless melody, and he makes it accessible as making it as a walking ballad. Because usually this is like a slow ballad, but at this level, playing it in two or like you said, a walking ballad is really cool for the students to kind of get that
And the
feel.
way to get the tempo not to speed up or slow down, it's get
Yeah,
all the students subdividing. Doodle doodle
Right, feeling that
doodle
triplet.
doodle. Because when they do that, they won't, it's just much easier.
Yeah,
But, I mean, if you don't have an alto player, 'cause it does have alto solo space in the middle of it.
right.
You could put it somewhere else, but I've usually used this in the past when the alto player was pretty strong.
Yeah.
So, all right, here's Misty, arranged Terry White. Okay, and the third tune we're going to use on this one is by Zachary Smith. If people haven't heard a lot of his music, episode 212, I had him on. One of my favorite charts of his is called 13 O'Clock Jump. If people haven't heard it, go back and check it out. Again, you can hear from him if you want to go back and check out that episode. This is a G minor tune that is Latin jazz. If you want to know more, we were just talking about how it's so hard to keep straight all the different types and what's different about them. I sat down with Michelle Fernandez for episodes 190 through 194, and each one has a style or two, and she talked about the exactness of each one.
That was a great set of 4 episodes that I know I've checked out a couple times.
Yeah, they're there for people to check them out. They're all part of a bigger one that we did. I forget what number that one was, but so this is a Montuno arpeggiated piano part. It's just a great. It's an original tune, so this is kind of an example of doing that. But it's good to open up in solo on G minor.
Yeah, I think it's a great vehicle for using, something. You could also use the blues scale, but also just learning straight minor scales, and then also learning the second degree of harmonic minor and getting that sound in their ear, kind of going from that second degree, like the minor 2/5, going to G minor. And it's a pretty simple scale to kind of teach, and it sounds good right away.
I'm gonna just advertise my lack of knowledge. We're just like, where is Curacao? Like, how do we pronounce?
Yeah.
So we're in the Northeast trying to, like, we know it's in the Caribbean, just north of, we think, Brazil.
Yeah.
It's on an island that we didn't know.
Yeah.
So if people know this, then have mercy on us. But the piano part's all written out. So works great. Here it is. Curacao Blue, Zachary Smith. My good friend Trent Austin started Austin Custom Brass so many years ago. You can call them at 816-410-0826. They ship all over the world. They have a shop in Kansas City, Missouri, and they really are an amazing sponsor of this podcast. They do trumpets, trombones, euphoniums, tubas, mouthpieces, and more, all the way from the beginner to the professional. Austin Custom Brass has worked with thousands of brass players from around the world, and you can check them out on www.austincustombrass.biz. Whether you're a student, a band director, a parent, or a player, Austin Custom Brass is your place to go for all your brass playing needs. Austin Custom Brass works with band programs from all over the country. They can provide a bid to you today. They can work within your school's budget, and they accept POs. Call their team today at 816-410-0826. Austin Custom Brass is an amazing resource for brass players and great humans, great people. You'll love working with them. Give them a call. Excelsior Music Publishing is proud to sponsor the Growing Band Director podcast. Excelsior Music Publishing provides new music for concert band, jazz ensemble, solo and ensemble, and books for all levels and occasions, including a specially curated and robust selection of music for your contest and festival performances. A variety of overtures, marches, and lyric works included on numerous state lists await. Select music that's perfect for your contest and festival needs at excelsiamusic.com. That's EXCELCIA music.com. So now we're on to the grade 2 set. This is a green cover series originally by Lester Young, arranged by Rich Sigler, called Lester Leaps In. This is based on rhythm changes. So tell us a little bit about Lester Young and about rhythm changes.
Well, Lester Young, one of his first major gigs was playing with the Basie Band, and this was like a really early Decca recording of the band. They call it the Old Testament big band. So his tune is really kind of like, the band is almost like more of a riff band at that time, you know, coming from Benny Moten to eventually Count Basie. And this melody is just a simple melody that is based on a set of chords called Rhythm Changes. Now, Rhythm Changes comes from I Got Rhythm, the Gershwin song. And, you know, the original I Got Rhythm has a little tag at the end, but usually people just play AABA, 8 bars each. And just 1, 6, 2, 5, 3, 6, 2, 5, 2, 5 to 4, sharp 4, 3, 6, 2, 5.
There's also versions of it that it's just B flat throughout.
That, right. Yeah, there's a lot of different permutations. Basically, it's in major key 1, and then the bridge. Yeah. There's different forms of bridge too, but you know, the standard is just dominant chord starting on the 3rd beat, in this case beat D7, concert D7, and going in the circle of fourths for 2 bars each. So it's something that, you know, is part of the jazz language, almost as important as the blues, because you just have so many melodies that are based on rhythm.
If anybody's like, okay, I'm going to do this, it's really about the bridge to me when it comes to improvisation. Like, play in B flat, use a pentatonic scale, whatever, but getting to the bridge, have your piano player 3rd and 7th. If you don't know what to do on this, and then just go down in half steps and you'll end up on the 1 chord again. That's a great way to kind of get through the bridge. This is written for 4 saxes. There's a flute part. It's a tenor feature, as it should be, right? Yep. And a swing era tune. So making it dance.
What I really love about this chart is that I couldn't read, because the score is really small on YouTube, but I couldn't tell if this solo was actually written out. It seems like it was, but it's very, very, very good written out solo. Yeah. And even if it's not written out, I would have your student transcribe the solo, because
it is written out.
It is. Oh, that's awesome, because you know, he quotes Ben Webster from Cottontail. He quotes Lester Young at some point. He also quotes what's it called? Stranger in Paradise. Da 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 da. A lot of bebop guys used to quote back in the day on the bridge. So there's like great language in the rhythm changes, not also bebop language that he uses the tenor solo and plays it very well. So this is a solo that I would have students learn and really kind of regurgitate. Like, this is a good information.
And the brass backgrounds too uses I Got Rhythm.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Cool. Here it is. Lester Leaps In, Lester Young, Rich Sigler. ballad is a Mark Taylor ballad called Bye Bye Blackbird. Again, great tune. If you don't know it, check out the Miles recording. I've used flugels on the trumpets. If you
Oh,
own them and you
nice.
want to do it, it works really, really well. But
Yeah.
this is written for three saxes minimum, six brass, flute,
Okay.
and I love the vibes part. So often I find myself writing out vibes parts. The Walking Ballad, again, great arrangement.
Right. Again, Mark Taylor with a standard that somebody you can trust. Definitely like a bassy treatment of this tune in terms of how he's phrasing the melody. And it really features the piano kind of going back and forth with the unison band. So I think it's a great vehicle for piano. I have a very good seventh grade pianist right now, so I'm actually going to try and do
Mm.
this one this term. I got to get it sent to me ASAP.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's a great vehicle also to get the whole band to lay back. We've been talking about that, this slow tempo and playing in the cut. I like to say playing in the cut, playing in the groove together. But it's a great level two. I would say it's a little higher than a level two.
Mhm.
But yeah, great chart.
Just the fact that the whole band is together is
Yeah,
great.
exactly.
And if you want to go clean it, don't play it, just sing it. Have everybody sing the
Exactly.
rhythms.
Yeah.
And the piano solo you're going to hear is the written out solo, but I believe
Nice.
the changes are there as well if
Right.
you want to have somebody improvise.
Right.
So here's the Mark Taylor arrangement of Bye Bye Blackbird. Before we go on to our third tune of this set, I just want to mention on the Miles recording, he uses the Harmon mute. For people, the Harmon mute, it's worth spending the money. The bubble mute
Mhm.
is really, really good. And if they're going to solo with it with a microphone, literally take the microphone right up to the hole of
Yep.
it and play right in so you can get
Yep.
that sound.
Just like Miles.
Yep. All right. So the third tune we're going to do is Cantaloupe Island, Mike Camuff. Tell us about this tune. Super fun.
Yeah, it's a fun chart. That kind of eighth note driving groove that a lot of the Herbie tunes have. And I've done this several times with my school group, and I think I did it with a region band.
And
Maybe
there's
out in New York
cowbell,
State.
so you're opening
Yeah,
yourself up to that.
exactly. That's true. The intro is big. I love using this too because they get they hear the melody and then I show them the recording. There's a live recording on YouTube that my son used to love when he was little, and he got all my kids, my own kids, into this recording of Freddie Hubbard playing Cantaloupe Island's a live version, maybe in the '70s. It's in color. I mean, he's just the solo he plays is just unbelievable on it. So it's just a great example of showing like the students the feeling of jazz because it's a live recording and it's super intense and Freddie's just going nuts on it. I love it. And this chart specifically, I like this little breakdown section that happens after the melody.
Yeah.
It kind of features the drums a little bit at that point, but I loved it so much that I'll use that as a segue and I'll just keep vamping it for the drums before we go back to the shout. Right before the shout chorus, I kind of vamp that part. If I have a good drummer that I want to feature, and I'll use it as a drum vehicle to kind of create a whole drum solo.
And one thing about this tune, if you don't know it, it's F minor, D flat major, and D minor. It's a very simple tune to solo on the 16 bar form. And
Yeah.
Mike Cumoff, you might have heard this name already. Episode number 82, I did a whole rhythm section episode with Mike on there.
Oh, nice.
And I just putting that out if people want to hear more from him. So here's the third tune of this set, Cantaloupe Island, arranged by Mike Cumoff. Again, a reminder that all of these are mix and match however you want. Put them on a list if you like them. This grade 3 set is a blue cover series from Alfred, an Eric Morales arrangement of the Nat Adderley tune, Work Song. Tell us
Yeah.
about Cannonball and Work Song and all that.
Well, this is a great chart. This is a great example of using a chart and then maybe going back and listening to the original. Obviously, always going back and listening to the original, but maybe adjusting the chart to kind of doing things that aren't on the page, right? So this one has I think it has an introduction to it. The way the melody played is kind of different than the record. I ultimately have done this maybe 2 or 3 times, and then we did different intros at the beginning because Cannonball's quintet and sextet did different arrangements of this. And I like to kind of show them the beginning and show them the video of the group. And there's one intro where the band will play kind of like a rubato, like holding out these like pedal sounds, and then the melodies stayed real slow, do 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 dee dee do do dee, then sounds, and then the trumpet will respond, do do do, and then eventually you count off and you play it up tempo. So it's it really kind of gives that kind of work song kind of feel to it at the beginning. I've been fortunate to play in the Cannonball Band with the last living member of the group, Lewis Hayes. Was one of my idols. And one year, the group was sounding so good, I called Lewis in class. Kids had no idea. We watched Lewis. I was like, we're going to call this guy. I want to hear you guys. He'll be so happy to hear you guys play Work Song. So, of course he dug, and he was really great with the kids on speakerphone. But it was pretty cool to kind of, you know, he's in his 80s now, but to have him hear little seventh and eighth graders play Work Song, and we stole his intro from the way he does it.
This tune is a great head chart that you can do without much other stuff.
Yeah.
This arrangement is definitely more like a festival arrangement. Like there's a really cool Barry. It does like a little Dixieland section of this, which is
Right.
and the ending is pretty extended. I mean, I think it's a longer type of chart. So
Yeah, in fact, the ending is good. I kind of, like I said, I would mimic more of the recording on
Yep.
this one, and I would actually not even do the ending, but the ending is good.
Cool. Let's check it out. Here's Work Song, arranged by Eric Morales. The ballad we're going to use is a Mark Taylor ballad called "Here's to Life." This is a vocal feature. I think it's like for an alto singer. Six brass, four saxophones. Original recording by Shirley Horn. If you want to hear that, it's with strings. It's just like amazingly gorgeous.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a chart out there that actually is that chart. If anybody has it or knows it or wants to write it, I will buy it. Has tenor space too. So this is more of a bossa nova sort of take on it.
Definitely. Right. Yeah, beautiful vehicle for if you have a strong vocalist, has maybe a smoky voice. The harmonies on that Mark wrote behind the singer are awesome. It's going to be great for your horns for intonation. I also think it's another accessible way to have a young group play a ballad. kind of putting into the bossa nova feel because, a swing ballad this slow is not easy for a young group, but putting in a bossa nova makes it a little more accessible, I think.
So this set we're going to use started with a swinger, and then this is a straight eighth note, and then the last tune we're going to do is actually straight eighth note and swing. So
Yeah,
there's kind of a little bit both with that. Just, again,
right.
just trying to keep the balance any way we can. So here's to life, arranged by Mark Taylor.
No complaints and no regrets. I still believe in chasing dreams and placing bets. For I have learned that all you give is all you get. So give it all you've got. Had my share and drank my fill, and even though I'm satisfied, I'm hungry still to see what's down another road beyond the hill and do it all again. So here's to life and every joy it brings. Here's to life, to dreamers and their dreams. Funny how the time just flies, how love can go from warm hellos to sad goodbyes and leave you with the memories you've memorized to keep your winters warm. There's no yes in yesterday, and who knows what tomorrow brings or takes away. As long as I'm still in the game, I'm gonna play for laughs, for life, for love. So here's to life and every joy it brings. Here's to life, to dreamers and their dreams. May all your storms be weather, and all that's good get better. Here's to life, here's to love, here's to you.
Okay, and our third tune, again, last set on this episode, last tune. This is Amoroso, again, Benny Carter. This is one of those tunes that, like, it's Basie did it, but there's not much of piano going on. Like, if you have
Right.
a weaker piano player, you can do that. Latin jazz, halftime, fast swing. So what am I using right now? Drummer. The bass has like the ostinato along with the trombones and the bari sax.
Hmm.
Shaker, congas, cowbell. Like these are all important
Yeah.
things. And it goes back, but it's like 200 beats a minute. So it
Yeah.
goes between the D minor, like that stays through most of it, but there's like this fast halftime groove
Hmm.
to fast swing, which we're working on right now, not slowing down,
Right.
so that when we get back to the halftime.
Right. Yeah, I did this piece as a festival piece last year. I think as our closer too. Great way to use auxiliary percussion, exciting Latin tune, a lot of repetitive riffs. If the trumpet range is a little high, I had a student that could do it, and I had a student that couldn't do it, so you could take it down easily. Don't
Yeah.
let that, deter you from playing this great chart. I heard it at a festival. I was like, whose chart is this? And I was like, oh, it's Benny Carter.
And the changes are great too.
Yeah,
Simple to blow
yeah,
on.
simple to blow on. you listen to the original, it's very exciting. I think it's Frank Foster that's soloing. Sounds like Frank to me. But it's funny because the rhythm section going from Latin to swing actually turns the beat around, which is kind of a rare thing to hear in a recording. But it doesn't really, you have to listen to it a couple of times to realize, oh yeah, the beat is kind of turned around. But Frank Foster doesn't let it phase him. He kind of goes with it. And then when it goes to the 4 chord, he's right back on the money and just goes with the flow.
I will say on the part, a lot of it like is a written out bass line, but then you get to part of it and it's just slashes.
Right.
So if you want to do the chart, but your kid doesn't know how to walk a bass line,
Right.
write a bass line out for him
You're right.
or her. Or if you don't know how to do that, find someone who does,
Right.
and learn to write one out.
Yeah, I mean, worst comes to worst, 1, 2, 3, 5, and just repeat it. But like, yeah, this is a good one to have somebody maybe help you write out some minor baseline language.
Your rhythm section, your drummer and your bass player need to be solid for this tune.
Without doubt.
Because it's got it like when you get to 200 beats a minute swing, like you don't want it to drag. So
exactly.
All right, here it is, Amoroso, Benny Carter. We sincerely appreciate you taking your valuable time and listening to the Growing Band Director podcast. Your students are very lucky to have a band director like you. If you have any suggestions for episode topics or think you have an area of expertise to share on a show with us, please reach out. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to help spread the word, please give us a 5-star review and tell your band director friends to subscribe as well. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our YouTube channel, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for listening to The Growing Band Director. See you next week.